I don't see myself as an entrepreneur in the sense of I had a great idea. That wouldn't satisfy me. You know, I want to build something. And unfortunately, building companies requires skills. I mean, there are skills involved. It's not just passion alone is not enough. Inspiration alone is not enough. Skills and discipline and wisdom is necessary. Now, in my case, you're right that Morris, by the time that he started TSMC, and let me just add that there's also one other difference. If you notice, TSMC was founded mostly through government funding and some strategic partner funding. I was started at a time where it was really difficult to start a semiconductor company, and no venture wanted to put money into NVIDIA. And so we had to start with industry partnerships as well, which after some time, when VCs were more open to the concept, added VCs to our funding. Now, of course, venture capitalists are very open to the idea of high-risk ventures. But nonetheless, I think the difference in the observations that you made, Morris today is instrumental in TSMC because he had the inspiration of an idea, and Morris is a wonderful entrepreneur. And when he talks about TSMC, he talks about it in such a childlike enthusiasm because he's passionate about the idea. So the idea is there, but he also had the skills of building and running a large company. Now, in my case, I had the idea. I had the benefit of 10 years working with really terrific managers. So I had the insight into what it would take to build a company. And then the rest of it, I was fortunate to have learned on a job. You know, I think that one of the things that you'll observe is there's two types of entrepreneurs. The one that starts the idea and then hands it off to somebody to run. And then a few of us starts the idea but decides to run the company as well. There is no greater satisfaction than building, frankly. Ideas come, you know, I have so many ideas that just come all the time. And you're popping out ideas every single day. And you know, NVIDIA is about a $3.5 billion company today. It takes a lot of ideas to generate $3.5 billion in sales. So you're generating ideas all the time. That's, as it turns out to me, is the easy part. The hard part is creating a corporate culture, keeping it cohesive, giving that enterprise and the 5,000 employees a common vision that binds them together and propels the organization, you know, through not meeting everybody individually, but through words. It is really actually quite an interesting concept, and so I enjoy the building process. I enjoy the process of seeing NVIDIA expanding its market footprint and seeing us making a greater and greater contribution to society, and so I want to see that part, you know. So I think that there lies some of the differences between entrepreneurs with ideas versus entrepreneurs who had ideas but also have the skills to build and run a company.
Jeannie, you had a question.
Yes, I do. If I might ask, you mentioned building a community, and the first time I actually heard about NVIDIA was back in 2000, I think, when a lot of my friends were playing LAN games. Yeah. So that's how I came to know about it. But I realize now that as people are using internet for different usages, not just video games and not just playing against each other, but communities, online communities that you've mentioned. I was wondering if NVIDIA has any plans to contribute perhaps into online social networking buildings and things of that nature, because I see that whereas gaming, you said you had difficulty finding funding initially because people thought of NVIDIA as video game industry related. But now gaming is so much more than just gaming, it's community building. And I was wondering what your thoughts are on that.
Yeah, that's really a good question. You know, in the beginning when we first started, it was almost embarrassing to say that we spend hundreds of millions of dollars building technology so that people could play games. these days, you know, I can wear a T-shirt that says, "Hey, I'm all about games." And one of the reasons why, one of the reasons for our success, I believe, has to do with the fact that we recognized all along that the content that sits on top of our technology is far more important than the technology itself. And in order for us to advance the state of content and create the type of technologies that help artists express their imagination, we had to develop tools, we had to educate, we had to, in fact, create quite a few demonstrations. You know, we think of ourselves as the industrial light and magic of real-time graphics. You know, what George Lucas does for offline graphics, movie graphics, we have to do for real-time graphics. And so we go out and we develop technology, content technology, and we give it to the world. We work with every single game developer in the world today. We have the largest content enabling organization in the world today, larger than Sony, Microsoft, and Nintendo's combined. And we consider it our unique responsibility to inspire, to educate, to enable content developers to create the next generation of great content. We've been working with all of the every single one of the online guys for quite some time. And we contribute code to them. We help test their code. We even play some of their games to give them some feedback. And we contribute to the economy, to the virtual economies ourselves.
Then to what extent, I don't have a deep understanding of this, so I want to ask, to what extent is computer graphics, as NVIDIA is heavily involved in, shares a business territory, I guess, with, for instance, Blu-ray, because I know that PS3, that was a big deal last year. And when they came out, their big chip was literally the Blu-ray. So how, I guess my question is how much of the market do you share, and how do you expand, how do you see NVIDIA's future in this constantly merging industries of computers, telecoms, media?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, in there is in your question is an observation that personal computer types of games today with console games and handheld games are in fact autonomous and independent type of experiences. If everything is online someday, you could argue that we could have a virtual world where the experience you have on your television is just an extension of the experience you have on your personal computer, which is just an extension as what you have on your handheld, on your cell phone, in your car, and so on and so forth. And all of those experiences are possible, and they're always virtual, they're always there. It's persistent. Millions and millions of people will be having those experiences all the time. You know, I think that the way that you think about us is we're kind of like the game console inside. You know, we are the guys that generate the imagery and makes it possible for the artists and the game developers to express their artistic expression onto that display. You know, we're the paint, the brush, and the canvas for the artists to express themselves in an interactive format. That's kind of the easiest way to think about ourselves. We don't see ourselves necessarily as a computer company, but computer technology as it applies to consumer applications, that's the intersection that NVIDIA is really focused on.